Oh, how I love to see the Chiefs lose. This doesn't happen
Yeah.
often. Let me take a a few seconds to soak it all in. All right, here we go, everyone. If this year is anything like last year in NFL, buckle up. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Everyone, welcome to the Breaking and Entering podcast brought to you by Premium. You know him as Ed. I'm Brandon. Ed, I feel like it was a quick off season, but training camp just dragged along. You ready for Sunday?
Oh man, I can't wait. I'm so
Same
ready
here. Same here, especially after that taste last night. Good game.
for sure. Can't wait to talk about
Yeah,
that.
definitely. All right, before we move forward, we're going to go to the opening drive. Cowboys, they've awarded right tackle Terrence Steele with a 5-year extension worth up to $86.6 million. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, he got his bag. The signal caller has agreed to a 5-year, $275 million extension that includes $219 million guaranteed money. He's now the
Mm.
highest paid player in league history. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Nick Bosa, he's back in the saddle for the 49ers. He's now the highest paid defensive player in league history after signing a 5-year, $170 million deal. And trouble in paradise for Chandler Jones and the Raiders. Jones said the Raiders sent a member of the crisis response team to his home earlier this week. He's missed several practices lately, and he reportedly wasn't allowed into the team gym earlier this week as well.
Yeah, that's crazy. Hopefully they get that worked out. It's always something with them Raiders. We'll
For
see.
sure.
Let's get into this Thursday night game though. Lions stun the Chiefs 21-20. Mike Tirico said at the end of the show, "This ain't the same old Lions. This is the 1-0 Lions." They did look a little improved from last year. Aiden Hutchinson, who the Commanders knew very well last year. He was getting after Mahomes. I don't think he got any sacks on him, but he was definitely roughing him up. There was instances in the game where Mahomes was like looking to the ref, like, "Come on, this dude is doing some. He
Yeah.
hit me late." You would see him wrap him up after he's throwing the ball and kind of sinks to the ground. I was like, "Oh dang, I did see that one. That does seem kind of late." But then there was a little controversy. I don't know if they made it aware on the broadcast. Their the tackle, the guard, Jawan Taylor for the Chiefs, seemed like he was getting off the line a little early, and they were talking
Constantly.
about his placement on the offensive line. They were saying he was a
Yeah.
little bit back and not exactly on the line of scrimmage. So there was some things going on in this game, but to the actual game itself, man, that rookie Jameer Gibbs, I was watching, I was like, man, I
Mhm.
wonder what it would be like to be 21, 22, 23 again. That young
Yeah.
man body, man, you see him just bouncing off of defenders. He's looking for contact. He going out of bounds. He dipping the shoulder
Yeah.
and taking a contact. I was like, yeah, young to be young again. Must be nice.
Hell yeah.
Jared Goff was really efficient. Didn't throw the ball away. Got the ball out quick. Had a couple of good connections to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Josh Reynolds was involved in the ball. Also, the tight end, the rookie, Sam Laporta, I think he'll be featured more and more as the season gets going on because he looked pretty reliable, a nice target. And then the defense, CJ Gardner Johnson, he came to play. He was getting into it with who was he was getting into it with? But he was getting into it with somebody on the Chiefs side of the ball. I think it was Pacheco, Isaiah Pacheco. They every time they had an interaction, it seems like they would talk a little bit. But overall, it was a really good game, back and forth. I talked about it last week. I thought if the Lions had any chance of winning, it would be them holding on to the ball a little longer, and I believe they had about 5 minutes more in the time of possession. So it was just a great game to watch. We do know Kelsey was out. Chris Jones is currently holding out, and he was at the game. That people kind of thought that was funny, but a lot of drops. Kadarius Tony, I think he, disabled his social media accounts just to try to get away from some of that heat. And there wasn't really a guy who established himself to be that guy. The people did step up. Blake Bell, Noah Gray, they stepped up, made some plays, but when they needed to play most, drops, miscommunications. So Chiefs got some things to work on. We'll see what they happens going forward. What did you think about this game, Brandon?
Yeah, man, it's rare that Kansas City doesn't score in the opening period, and it's also rare that a pick six by the reigning MVP. It's only happened two other times in his career. Of course, I didn't know that till last night. We was watching the game anyway. Um, But look, it's easy for us to get caught up in the Kansas City side of things, but head off to the Lions. Came into a hostile environment. They came ready to play and handle their business again against the reigning champs, defending Super Bowl champs. Revamp that running back room. You mentioned Jameer Gibbs. Looked like he's going to live up to expectations and then some. Of a top 10 pick coming in the previous draft. Shout out to the receivers as well. One thing I noticed about last night, they always seem to be there when Jared Goff was in distress. Several of his passes were caught when they were coming back to the ball. It was even sometimes when the NBC camera crew couldn't even keep up. They were just like a hair behind it, the angle wise. But those guys were out there making plays all over the field. I've been critical of their defense coming into this season. I remember talking about they scored over 30 points per game early in last year, but they were giving up just as much, if not more. They definitely looked a lot more improved last night. The rookie Brian Branch with that pick six was flawless. Looked like every Troy Polamalu out there taking it to the house. Your boy Aiden Hutchinson, you mentioned him earlier. He was in Patrick's face all night. Somehow Mahomes he escaped with no sacks, but they definitely were out there harassing him. And then you mentioned Mike Tirico at the end of the show, end of the game. I know some Lions fans were a little upset over this. He said this one will have an asterisk by it because they were missing Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. I feel like, I'm not exactly Patrick Mahomes' biggest fan, but it feels like they're always giving them passes or excuses. The Chiefs' defense has always been a liability. It just shows more about the big guy in the middle, like you mentioned that last night we were texting. And without Mahomes at his best, offensively, you mentioned the wide receivers, there's drop passes all over the place, no other way around it. But with that being said, Ford Field will be rocking next week. The Lions, I heard last night they sold out all their season tickets. That's the first time since they've been at Ford Field that that's happened. And they're also unveiling which I was surprised this even happened. I'm sure everybody is, that they didn't never have a statue honoring Barry Sanders. Apparently, they're going to unveil one next Sunday, which is week 2, which is crazy. At what he did for that franchise when he was playing, that he didn't have a statue, but that's a whole nother subject. But the Chiefs, man, they'll travel to Duval County for a matchup with the Jaguars in week 2. That should be good. But we're looking at a strong possibility that Kansas City could go 0-2. I thought that they would win this game against the Lions, so I wasn't sure. I got ahead to thinking about week 2 against the Jaguars. Of course, early when the schedule came out, I thought it was a possibility, but like legit, they might go down there and lose. So we'll see how Jacksonville looks. But that would be very interesting to see them start out 0-2 for sure. If it gets down that route, we'll have to see how Travis Kelce's injury works out for him, and if they somehow pull a cat out the bag and pay Chris Jones.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do some Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi on Travis Kelce knee. They're gonna need him out there for sure after what they saw last night. Also, I want to say shout out to the special teams of the Lions for going for that fake punt early in the game in their own I think they were inside their own 20. I think
inside their own 20.
Yeah, they caught him off guard. And you touched on it a little bit. I forgot to mention as well, but Mahomes, he didn't really have his best game in my opinion too. He had some overthrows. He was throwing behind a couple of receivers, and I think that contributed to some of the drops and miscues they had as well. So Mahomes got to step it up himself too, along with the receivers.
Yep. All right, Texans at Ravens on Sunday afternoon. It's a new era there in Houston with C.J. Stroud at quarterback and DeMeco Ryans as head coach. Will Anderson on defense. 1:00 Eastern start time on CBS. You may remember, Ed, I had a checklist at the end of last season, 5 things we needed to do to make the next step in the AFC and the league itself. Number 1 was sign Lamar, success. Number 2, resign Demarcus Robinson, failure. Number 3, add a talented wide receiver, success. Number 4, James Prochet must go, success. And number 5, Greg Roman, his ass was a must go as well, success. With that being said, I still have some concerns. I don't think they'll impact us much on Sunday, but we have questions on the left side of our offensive line, plus our pass rush and secondary probably is the biggest concern right now heading into this game. I still feel like we should be able to take care of home business against the Texans. They were horrendous against the run last week and last year, and we love to run the ball, so that should fare well for us. Um, Defensively, for the uh, sorry, I'm having a brain freeze.
Texans.
Thinking about the Texans, yeah. We play rookie quarterbacks very well, but with that being said, they now have Dalton Schultz, and we've never been able to cover tight ends well in Baltimore. But again, I think that we'll be able to take the win uh, against Houston. They were pretty much what second worst team in the league, and pretty much one win away from being the worst team in the league last year. I know it's a lot of improvements down there. I do feel like they'll go very far this year, but week one, I think they'll still be figuring things out. We tend to play well at home. And again, rookie quarterbacks, us and the Steelers, I think nobody, or maybe the Patriots too, Bill Belichick, nobody plays rookie quarterbacks better than those three teams right there, Ravens, Steelers, and Patriots. And of course, CJ Stroud's a rookie. Um, Ed, you chose LJ as your MVP candidate a week ago. How do you feel his team will do against Houston?
I'm pretty confident Baltimore will beat Houston. Only thing I would be a little concerned with maybe, or maybe you guys would keep your eye on is we were talking about player awards a couple weeks ago, and I said Will Anderson for Houston, their first round defensive end. So keep eye out for him. Who knows if he does like what Aiden Hutchinson did to the Commanders last year, get like 4 sacks in a damn first half, something crazy like that. But other than
Yeah,
that, I think you guys should pull it out. I'm really excited to see how Lamar and his new offense is going to look with Zay Flowers, Odell, and crew. But overall, I don't think you should have too many problems. Like you said, the rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud, I think he's going to be in for a real tough and long game. Welcome to the NFL. He's got Damian Pierce in the backfield to help him out, but I think you guys will be really good going against the run out the gate. I don't want to see how the secondary looks. But I'm not too worried about your secondary versus their receivers. But at the same time,
yeah,
first first game, still got some stuff that you're gonna need to get worked out. You're probably gonna get exposed a little bit on
yep.
both sides, Ravens and Texas, but just a little concern for me. But overall, I think Baltimore has enough talent on their side to cover up any mistakes that do occur on the field, and y'all should get the victory. But yeah, definitely think Lamar is going to have a game where, MVP predictions are him leading the way, leading the board, in my opinion, starting with this Houston game for sure.
Gotcha.
For sure. I'm going to go over to Arizona versus Washington. But before we do that, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD infused products, which make great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite, as well as tinctures and mint, a regular flavor. Most importantly, they are veteran and women owned, so come get some of the sweet temptation and taste the premium difference. Use code BNE for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, that's PREHEMIUM.com. And now back to our show. Brandon, I'm changing my mind a little bit. Not on this game, the outcome of the game, but you've been asking me, is Ron Rivera on a hot seat? And I've been saying, I think he'll be all right. If he loses his damn game, if Washington loses his damn game, he third degree burn is gonna be on his ass. That seat gonna be hot. So yeah, I think Washington is gonna win this game. Terry McLaurin, they're saying he's gonna play. He suffered a toe injury against Baltimore in a preseason Battle Beltway game. I'm still not sure about Chase Young. He suffered a stinger in preseason, and he hasn't really been practicing with the team. I think he's been doing more like conditioning work and stuff like that on the sideline. So we'll see if he's able to play. Hopefully he does. We need full hands on deck. I know Arizona, I think Josh Dobbs is going to be the starter, and he wasn't even there for the whole training camp. So they're probably going to have a vanilla package for him. I don't think he's going to get the full playbook, but even if it is, I just think Washington, the way we're going, new owner, new light, new page in the book. I think we should take care of Arizona pretty handily. What about you? How you feeling about Arizona versus Washington?
Yeah, another new era within both these franchises, most notably
Yeah.
with your team, new ownership and a new offensive coordinator. On the other sideline, Arizona, new coach, new GM, temporary quarterback. I had to look up their quarterback one early this week. I had no idea who was going to start for them. Looked like
Yeah.
it's going to be Joshua Dobbs at the moment. Um, I don't know. I think
Well,
James Conner, huh?
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I think James Conner, he needs to carry the load. For this offense, Arizona. He kind of had a down year last year compared to the year before when he first arrived there. They still have threats on the outside, Hollywood and Rondell Moore, Zach Ertz. I think a couple of those guys are questionable. This should be a cakewalk for y'all, in my opinion. Sold out crowd, new quarterback, guys all over the place at wide receiver and running back with your team. But I'm still a little bit concerned with y'all's middle of the defense and secondary. I know the secondary had a good game against us in the preseason, but they should be all right against those Cardinals. I think honestly, I thought about picking Washington in my lock for my picks league, but I went with Kansas City. And we all know
Mm.
how that went. But with that being said, give me Washington in this one. I think it'll be very easy for y'all. But yeah, I'm looking to see if those third degree burns come in if y'all
I'm
lose
telling
this
you,
one.
let them lose it.
Yeah.
We're gonna stick in the NFC East. Dallas is taking on the Giants. Brandon, how you feel about this one?
Oh man, I know Cowboys fans are happy they don't have to play Tom Brady in week one. For the last 2 years they've opened up against him and it's not fair well. But be careful what you wish for, Dallas fans. This New York team looks good in my opinion. Saquon, I believe he'll make some plays against the suspect Dallas defense. They had trouble against the run all last season. Um, uh, New York has some guys that can stretch the field and get open with Wandale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt. Had an outstanding camp in preseason. I know we texted the game. I want to say it was against the Titans they played in preseason. He had a long catch for a touchdown
Hmm.
from the backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor. Plus, their offensive line looks solid, especially on the ends where they'll face Micah Parsons. Speaking with Parsons, I still think he'll finish with about 2.5 sacks against Daniel Jones. I think he'll be all over the place. Um, he'll need to be a force Sunday night as their secondary is still getting into its own. I know you still got Diggs back there, but Stephon Gilmore is coming into their
Yeah.
uh, new face and new place down there. Offensively, the pressure is on Dak and Tony Pollard to perform in this game on national television. Uh, Dak's coming off a year he led the league in interceptions. Cowboys fans, they've been calling for Pollard to be the lead guy, and we'll see how that goes. He's nice with it, but can he handle a full workload? And
Yeah.
yeah, Dak, Lord knows if he throws one interception, those Cowboys fans will lose their minds because they do travel, so they're gonna make some noise out there for sure.
Yeah.
But the Cowboys, they definitely had the Giants number lately, especially in these opening games. Back when seemed like it was always Giants at Cowboys week one on Sunday Night Football. But this time it's in New York. I'm gonna give New York the edge in this one. I think it'll be close. I'm gonna give it like 24-21, New York on top.
Okay. It's still 50-50 for me. I mean, I've been, you know,
Mhm.
on both sides right now. I think it's going to be a good game, good close game too. If I had to pick somebody, I'm still leaning a little bit more towards Dallas. Like you said, they brought in Stephon Gilmore. They brought in Brandon Cooks too. I'm concerned about Zeke leaving. I know he wasn't, he was on kind of on the downtail on his last couple years there in Dallas, but I still think he played a big part in the offense, the pass
Yeah.
blocking, stuff like that. I don't know if they'll be able to replicate that with the running backs they got now, but we'll see. But like you said, Michael Parsons, I think he'll be a game wrecker. I'm hearing Darren Waller is on the injury report now too with a hamstring, so who knows if he'll be in the game 100%. And they brought him in. I think he would have been, their lead target on the offense. But they still got Saquon. He's a nuclear weapon waiting to happen. But Daniel Jones and Dak Prescott, they're kind of like cancel each other out a little bit. But I just like Dallas a little bit more. Dak saying, he feels 100% comfortable and confident in his offense now. So, maybe he'll look like an MVP. We'll see. I hope not, just because he's in our division. Commanders, I mean. But yeah, if I had to pick a team, man, I'm leaning towards Dallas at the moment. It's just a guess kind of a gut feeling, but I think it's going to be a really good game though. I think Jalen Hyatt took number 13. That's Odell's old number, so
Yeah,
I think he'll try to make a statement for himself Sunday night game. But I think Dallas has enough in the tank. I think that defense is gonna force some turnovers, I think, and ultimately help them win the game. So yeah, I got Dallas over the Giants.
got you. It's sure to be a defensive battle on Sunday when the 49ers and Steelers take the field at Pittsburgh. Ed, what do you expect from this one?
Honestly, before the Nick Bosa news, I was kind of leaning toward Pittsburgh, but now that Nick Bosa's back in the fold, I think that defense is going to be prime ready to go, even without D'Amico Ryan's on the lead in the defense. Steve Wilkes is the new guy in charge, the defense coordinator. George Kittle, he's healthy. They still got that super nuclear and dynamic running game with Christian McCaffrey leading the way. And my guy, Big Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be more of the lead receiver going forward. I think he's going to just come into his own. Seems like a good route runner. I think he's going to get some more opportunities, and Debo's still going to do his thing. Pittsburgh, though, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Pittsburgh's going to keep it close. I think Mike Tomlin's going to have these guys coached up well. TJ Watt is going to make some noise. If they can contain him, Trent Williams and crew can keep him contained and make sure he doesn't get touching Brock Purdy too much, then San Fran should do their thing. I think the San Fran defense is going to be able to, hold Najee down a little bit. But the only concern I got with San Fran right now, I think George Pickens, he might have a breakout year. I think Kenny Pickett should raise his game from where he was last year. I think he's going to be on a new level this year. I think George Pickens will benefit from that. They got Deontay Johnson still, and I like Pat Freiermuth a lot. Their tight end, I got him in one of my fantasy leagues. So Freiermuth, I need you to do your things. Same with Najee, but I just think San Fran's defense and overall talent is going to be just a little bit too much for Pittsburgh at the moment. What about you, Brandon? How you feeling about this one?
Yeah, I feel like San Fran will take this one. I think they'll pull away in the second half. I wanted to talk about this one because I feel like it's going to be one of the better games of the opening weekend. Got stars all over the place. Debo, Kittle, Hufanga, Pickens. You mentioned T.J. Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick as well. What
Yeah.
more can you ask for? In my opinion, San Fran was my pick to go to the Super Bowl. But getting past the Steelers won't be easy. I think the Steelers will try to run the ball, but that definitely will be tough against that 49er defense, but it should open up some opportunities for Pickens and Deontay Johnson on the outside. And then on the other side, you got San Fran likely try to take advantage of a revamped secondary for Pittsburgh. Levi Wallace and Joey Porter Jr., they'll be starting out there for Pittsburgh last check. I think Kittle will have a big game as well because the Steelers are so good against the run. Um, Theirs always have been. But yeah, give me the 49ers in this game. I think they'll pull away in the second half. It will be close early on, but I think late in the second half they'll pull away there.
Ooh. So yeah, Carolina, Atlanta, NFC South matchup. Brandon, how you feeling about this one?
We'll start with the home team. You mentioned the hot seat with Commanders possibility if y'all lose. I think the seats are very hot in the dirty South for Arthur Smith and Desmond Ritter. I know he's in the first year of his full-time starter, but there's definitely pressure. I think they'll try to run the ball pretty good against a very good Carolina defense with Bijan Robinson, of course, another first-round pick in the draft, and they'll try to get your boy Kyle Pitts the ball as well early and often. As for the Panthers, I think I really like this team heading into 2023. I'm sure Frank Reich, he'll try to keep the ball on the ground with Miles Sanders, Chuba Hubbard, try to make things as easy as possible for Bryce Young. And then you add in Hayden Hurst. That's always good for a young quarterback to get a pretty good tight end. Defensively, Carolina's good there. They've been decent over the past few years. Two of my favorite defensive players in NFL there with Brian Burns and J.C. Horn. I think this will be a favorable matchup for them against a division rival to get things figured out early with several new pieces in the Atlanta secondary. With that being said, I'm going to go with the Panthers in this one on the road. But if it comes down to the kicker, give me Atlanta's Young Ho Koo, probably the second best kicker in the NFL. But yeah, give me the Panthers. What about you?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Atlanta in this one. I like Bryce Young a lot from what I've seen in the preseason, but I think Desmond Ritter, his experience is gonna be the thing that kind of leads the way for Atlanta. Also, I like the pieces they picked up in the secondary. They picked up some guys over from the Bengals, Jesse Bates and crew. But like you said, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, they still got Tyler Algier back there. So I think they're gonna be able to control the clock and run the ball a lot on Carolina. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I do agree with you on the hot seat thing. If Atlanta loses Arthur Smith, it won't be third-degree burns, but he's probably going to get up a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with Atlanta in this one. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Bryce might make a rookie mistake out there, and we'll see what happens without DJ Moore there too. I think they're one of their receivers is out right now. I forgot who it is, and Adam Thielen, he's also dealing with an ankle injury or a hamstring injury too.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that leads out. But yeah, I'm choosing Atlanta. But let's get to the Monday night game, Buffalo at the Jets. Brandon, how you think this one's gonna go?
Man, I really like this Jets defense. We all predict they're
Yeah,
gonna be top 10, probably top five. I really like, of course, Sauce Gardner, Quentin Williams, big guy up in the middle. I think they'll have their hands full though with Josh Allen and the boys coming to town. Those guys have been doing it for years now.
yeah.
Offensively for the Jets, this is where I think it'll take time. There's some question marks on that offensive line, even to the point where Aaron Rodgers, he had that noticeable tweet earlier in training camp, holding his rear end or something like that, and it was kind of like a, hey, he wanted David Bakhtiari. I remember hearing about that on the sports talk shows. But yeah, last time I checked, Buffalo still has a pretty good defense with Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, and my boy Matt Milano. He's all over the place every game. It seems like doesn't get a lot of credit out there, but especially with the addition of Von Miller. Of course, Von's
Mm-hmm.
out, but I think Von takes that attention in that Buffalo defense. And then Damar Hamlin, he'll be back out there with his team as well in some official action on the field. I know he played a little bit in preseason, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm sure that'll just add more fuel to the fire for Buffalo going into a hostile environment there with a revamped Jets team. But give me the Bills in this one. I think it'll be close. I think at the end of the night, excuse me, Jets fans will go home a little disappointed after this one, and they'll Buffalo will go up not only 1-0, but up one in their division. How do you feel this one is going to pan out?
Yeah, it's still a toss up for me. If I had to pick, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm leaning towards Buffalo just because they got a little bit more cohesion
Continuity. Yep.
being, yeah, continuity too, being together so long. But like you said, man, that Jets defense, I think is going to be like a top three unit, man. They got that D line, like you said, Quentin Williams leading the way. He got his brother behind him on the linebacker end, and they got Sauce Gardner, freaking rookie of the year, first team all pro as a rookie. I really like the Jets, but I think Buffalo, like I said, the cohesion continuity, as you mentioned, is going to get the job done. I think once Stephon Diggs catches a few balls, they'll get rolling. They did lose Devin Singletary in the offseason. James Cook will be the lead guy now. We'll see if he can be a lead guy. He did seem explosive last year as, running back by committee.
Yep.
But I think Josh Allen, he's probably going to have to run a little bit. I think that pocket is going to get a little hectic for him out there, and he's going to have to use his legs. And I just don't know. I got to see how the Jets O-line look. There's been some questions about them throughout the preseason and the training camp. I need to see how Aaron Rodgers looks with Dalvin Cook just coming in because he wasn't there for the whole preseason. Brees Hall's coming off an ACL tear, so who knows if he'll be rusty leading out there. But I do think those guys are two dynamic backs, and they will be good for Aaron Rodgers. They got my guy Garrett Wilson too. I don't know why I said my guy. He's from Ohio State, but I like him. I think he's going to be his number one receiver going out there.
Yeah.
But like you said, that Buffalo defense isn't a joke either. So I think it's going to be a close game. But in the end, I think Buffalo and Josh Allen just has a little bit more right now. And I think the Jets just need some time to run it out there and build. So I'm gonna go towards the Buffalo Bills in this one. Close game though. And I'm watching Manny Castleman, by the way. Just want to
I
put
was gonna say
that
that too. Hell yeah. Forget Troy Aikman and them. We got
so
the
forget him.
Manning brothers. Forget them. They need to be on every week. But that's another discussion
Right. Yeah,
for
seriously.
another week. All right. How about we look at the remaining games in week one, everyone? Cincinnati at Cleveland, Jacksonville at Indianapolis, Tampa Bay at Minnesota, Tennessee at New Orleans, Green Bay at Chicago, Las Vegas at Denver, Philadelphia at New England, Miami at the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Los Angeles Rams at Seattle. Ed, which of these remaining games should everyone pay close attention to, and yourself as well?
Definitely Cincinnati Cleveland game. Um, Green Bay Chicago, that's a big rivalry game. Justin Fields is super electric out there right now. Miami at LA Chargers. I think that's gonna be a good one. Let's see. All of these games, I'm gonna be watching Red Zone, so I'm gonna be having an eye on all of these games. But I think those that I just named for sure are gonna be the games we will. Oh, I forgot, of course, Vegas at Denver, Broncos country, let's ride. Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, a couple of those games you mentioned for sure. Cincinnati at Cleveland. Joe Burrow, he's 1-4 all time against Cleveland. I believe he's lost four straight games against the Browns. Plus, the Browns always play our division well, so we'll see how that goes on Sunday. We'll see Deshaun Watson heading basically into his first full year starter out there, but technically year two with the Browns. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, the Colts. These are their guys that they've had over the past 6, 7 years. Scott Tolzien, Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett, Philip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, and now Anthony Richardson. Um, that's since 2017. It appears they found their guy. Still several questions all over this roster. And of course, the Jaguars look good coming off a playoff appearance from a season ago. So we'll see how they handle things there in Indianapolis. And Green Bay at Chicago. The Bears owner has left the building. Aaron Rodgers is no longer there, but I'll be watching Justin Fields closely to see if he's improved and how his offensive line. I think that's a big concern for Bears fans right now. Plus Jordan Love, another new starter there. Uh, Jordan, if you win on Sunday at Soldier Field, Bears fans will be sick again. Okay. You can become the new owner of the Bears yourself by securing a W. I'll definitely be wanting to watch this game in the late window. And then you mentioned Miami at the Chargers, two of the AFC's better teams. I think both of these offenses are capable of keeping up with anyone, as well as they have solid defenses as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be watching out for my offensive rookie of the year selection, Quentin Johnson there with the Chargers, and my boy Austin Eckler. I know he was your MVP pick a year ago. He basically wants out of Los Angeles, so we're going to see if he start building on his resume even more Sunday afternoon there from SoFi Stadium.
Definitely, yeah, we'll definitely see. I hope everyone can watch the games. There's been some contract disputes between broadcasting. I know
Yeah,
ESPN,
yeah,
Spectrum Cable, I think they lost ESPN. So I hope everyone's able to watch the games. You can probably just use Google, and I ain't gonna get into it, but
mhm,
use Google,
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
But hopefully everyone has a good rest of their weekend. Watch these games and get ready for a good week one football. I know I'm ready. Brandon, are you ready too?
Hell yeah. Hey, real quick, you want to talk about Deion Sanders in Colorado? Your
Yeah,
thoughts
we can
on
talk
that?
about
Getting
that.
a
They
lot of
beat
attention.
TCU. They upset
Yep.
TCU 45-42. Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders,
Yeah.
Dylan Edwards. I mean, this is an incredible game. They playing tomorrow, noon Eastern, 9 o'clock against Nebraska. I
Yeah.
don't know. I hope they keep it going, but it's gonna be tough now. I think they're ranked too, number 22 in the
22.
country, I
Yep.
want to say. Yeah. How you
Hmm.
feeling? What did you think about everything with
Yeah,
Colorado?
man. We were texting during that game last week. Uh, I know that opening drive, I think they went down, and by the time TCU got the ball, it was like 8 minutes left in the first quarter. Um, so they was playing like that ball control dominant type play early on. It, went back and forth. I think I
Mm-hmm.
told you I took a nap in between, but yeah, to see how Deion Sanders can come in and revamp a team that went 1-11, I think it was last season, and first game of the season or first after the first week, they've already won master win total. So yeah, I mean, I just hope he either stays there or don't go to certain teams in the NFL. I know he's came out and said that he doesn't really want to go pro, but of course there's people already talking about it. I think I don't know if it was you or somebody in our picks league has sent me something that Michael Irvin said that he wants to see him eventually coach the Cowboys. And I'm like, of course Michael Irvin wants that
Right.
because he wants the Cowboys to do well, number one. But then on the other side, I'm like, well, you couldn't stand this guy when they said that Jerry Jones said he was going to bring him in as a player until you realize that that was the missing piece for y'all to win a Super Bowl. So yeah, shout out to him. Like you said, the son playing quarterback, Travis Hunter is a dual threat, offense
Yeah.
and defense. Guys all over the place. And they, of course, you got a guy like him, everybody just wants to play for him. Everybody wants to give it their all. So it's definitely good to see out there for
Yeah.
sure. And, you know, he's definitely taking care of his players and everything, getting them on the right path. So
Yeah, I
big
think he's
deal.
gonna be real polarizing too. Because he was talking his stuff after the victory. I know it probably
Hell yeah.
ruffled some feathers, rubbed some people the wrong way. But I think if they keep winning, definitely gonna get some more fans, but he's gonna get a lot more people that want to see him lose too. So I think every game they might be on national television in prime time,
Yep.
or one of them good slots. So I'll definitely be watching. I tweeted out.
Cool.
I said I'm on a bandwagon. It still go blue. It still go blue. But
Yep.
definitely on the Colorado bandwagon, supporting Dion and his guys for sure. So
Definitely.
yeah, everyone. Sorry, we gonna say something?
Oh no, you good. Yep.
Got you. Yeah, everyone. That's another episode of the Breaking Entering podcast. Thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you, Premium, for sponsoring. Enjoy the week one. We'll get back to you next week, everybody. Peace.
Later.